there won't be anything left.
Hey, no cheat code! What did you do?
What I had to.
That's right, everyone. Sonic the Hedgehog is back on the big screen with his third installment. Man, how far this trilogy has come. Back in 2019, we remember that trailer. We remember that trailer with that design shall not be named. But, you know, one small change and, well, the movie came out. So, before I by the way, there will be spoilers in this review, but before I go into spoilers, you can stay around for this bit, I'll let you know when spoilers will be coming, but I should give on my thoughts for, like, the first two Sonic movies. If you look at my background, like, right here, you can tell, and if you have seen this YouTube channel before, if you have catched a glimpse of it, you can tell humongous Sonic fan. I am not gonna hesitate. Sonic the Hedgehog is not only my favorite franchise of all time, it's my favorite thing of all time. I fucking love this series. I loved it. I love the games, the comics. I love this franchise to death. I'm the problem, not the solution. But yeah, so I should tell you what my thoughts are on the first two movies now. Funny thing, I have a weird relationship with the first movie because back when the first movie came out around like 4 years ago, fucking hell, I will admit, back when it first came out, I loved it to death. To me, it was like the coolest thing ever. But then when I got the film on DVD and Blu-ray, it was still a good movie, just not as awesome as I remembered it being in the cinema. And I won't deny the first Sonic movie kind of suffers from the same problem that the first X-Men movie kind of does, where it's like the reason why I thought it was amazing back when it came out is because it could have easily been terrible. It could have easily been terrible, and the fact that it wasn't tricked my brain into thinking it was one of the greatest things ever made. But yeah, so the first Sonic movie, loved it when it first came out. Not as much nowadays, but I still enjoy it for what it is. Sonic Movie 2, great fucking improvement. And it still had some problems, like a wedding subplot, or that I will admit I did find funny. Still think should have been cut out of the movie entirely, if you completely ask me. I get why it's in there. Because, we need a reason why Sonic and Tails are separate from the humans voice of that film, so I kind of get it. But still a massive improvement from the first one, and I would say that one is a pretty freaking great film. I still wouldn't call it the ultimate masterpiece. I still think that, like the first two Paddington movies are kind of better than the first two Sonic movies. Even though I watched the Sonic movies more, that's more out of a bias. It's more out of, even though I watched the first two Sonic movies more than I watched the first two Paddington movies, that's more because it's from biasm. Because, yeah, don't get me wrong, I love the first two Paddington movies to death, but I'm not really the biggest fan of Paddington Bear. That's the thing. I'm a massive fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. So, yeah, I watched the Sonic movies more than the Paddington movies, but that's more out of bias. And for Knuckles Show, if you see my review on that, you know how much that show sucks. And, even though I think the Knuckles Show is awful, I still went out of my way to get a DVD of it. It's rated 12, not PG. It has a higher age rating than the movies. Even though I will admit Sonic Movie 3 has way more darker moments than the Knuckles Show, so why Sonic Movie 3 is rated PG, but the Knuckles Show, it has a higher age rating, I will never know, but okay. Okay, yeah, I do know why. Because of a fucking masturbation joke they have in one scene in the third episode. I completely forgot about that. This show sucks. But anyway, yeah, so now that I am done talking about the first two movies and that show. What do I think of this movie? I don't know how to tell you this, guys. I didn't like Sonic Movie 3. I didn't like it at all. I fucking loved it! Woo! What a movie! Holy shit, what a movie! God damn, this is it! Finally! Fucking finally! We have an actual Sonic movie this time! Holy shit! I mean, like, okay, let me explain what I mean. I'm not saying Sonic isn't the main character of the first two movies. He is the main character of all three movies. He's the main character of this whole trilogy. What I mean is that the first movie isn't really a Sonic movie. It's a movie where the main character so happens to be Sonic the Hedgehog himself. That's it. The second movie feels like a Sonic movie interrupted with a fucking wedding rom-com that no one gives a shit about. But this one is full on Sonic. No crap, no road trip plot, no crappy wedding subplot. Full on Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, you still have the humans like James Marsden and Tika Sumpter, but they actually do have some roles in the story, but they're minimum. Like, they are not like big parts. Like, they do need to be there in order for the story to work, but they try to make sure to keep the focus away from them as much as they can without screwing it up, and it is amazing. So, obviously, if you have played Sonic Adventure 2, or if you have seen the trailers for this movie, you know that the plot is basically Shadow is out doing some bad shit, and Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles have to go and stop him. That's the basic gist. But, still not into spoilers yet, but let's add in a bit more detail, and this isn't a spoiler because you see in the trailer. Eggman decides to team up with his long-lost grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, who's 110 in this movie, and no, they don't explain how he's alive. They don't explain it at all. Yeah, even though this movie is amazing, it's great, it's fantastic, I will admit, it does have some noticeable problems. I'll get to those in a bit. I'll get to those when we get to the spoilers, but, yeah. But, yeah, so either Robotnik, after, like, you know, promising to help Sonic and his friends stop Shadow, when he comes across Gerald, he sees Sonic and friends, and he's like, you know what? Fuck all of you. I got my grandfather right here, so I am going to help the ultimate life form blow you up. Bye! So now it's up to Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles to not only stop Shadow, but also stop a new scheme that the Robotniks are hatching. No pun intended, because I just realized what I said there, because, you know, Robotnik's nickname is Eggman, so no pun intended when I said hatching a scheme. I did not mean for that pun to be there. No pun intended. Anyway, let's start off with what I didn't like about this movie, because trust me, there's a lot I do like. So I want to start off with the stuff that I didn't like. The pacing is all over the place. Not to say that this movie is too long or too short. It has the perfect runtime. If you don't count the credits, the movie is like an hour and 42 minutes. If you don't count the credits, I think it's an hour and 42 minutes. I know with credits it's an hour and 50, yeah, but I think if you don't count the credits, yeah, it's an hour and 42 minutes. Yeah, perfect runtime for a Sonic movie. So it's not too short like the first movie, but it's not it's not unnecessarily long like the second movie. Even though I won't deny when people tell me that the second movie is way too long, I do think they're being a bit dramatic, but that's just me. But yeah. But I will admit there are, like, some pacing issues. So, like, for example, like, the first, like, 20 to 30 minutes is paced really well. Like, it is just like non-stop action. It's like, go, 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 go. But then we get to the 30-minute mark, and not to say that the movie like drags on, or I was thinking, oh my god, when is this movie gonna end? Honestly, I didn't want this movie to end at all, but you know, it is what it is. But I won't deny, we get into the first flashback scene, and it goes on for longer than I was expecting. Now, it's not like Kraven the Hunter bad, where, yeah, I did see Kraven the Hunter on Wednesday, by the way. Yeah, that movie is a piece of shit. Don't go and watch it. But, yeah, like the flashback isn't extremely long, but we're in that flashback for a good, 5 minutes, when I was expecting, a series of flashbacks, which we do have, more than one flashback. But I'm not gonna lie, I legit thought it was going to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, where every once in a while we'll cut to, a flashback of what a certain character was going through during the time they were going insane. So, and we get that, but, yeah, it honestly feels like the first flashback, with the way the movie's edited, it feels like the first flashback was originally meant to be, split into multiple flashbacks, but then they just said, fuck it, let's just make it 3 flashbacks instead, because, there are, multiple flashbacks, and there's 3 flashbacks in the whole film. Technically, there's 4 flashbacks, but one of them only lasts for a few seconds, which I will talk about in the spoiler section. But yeah, but I don't really count that one because that only lasts for a few seconds, and even then, with the film's context, yeah, it just doesn't count to me. But yeah, there's 3 flashbacks in the whole film, and the second one, it just feels like it was originally meant to be multiple mini flashbacks, but they said, fuck it, let's just stretch it out a bit longer, and just have it where make it into a montage. I won't deny, that flashback scene is really good, and it is heartbreaking at the same time. It's good, but also very sad, especially if you know the story of all the shit Shadow went through in the games. Yeah, you think what he went through in the games was bad? This movie comes in to say, hold my beer, and makes you fucking cry. I'm not joking. I cried quite a few times in this movie. Quite a few. Ooh. No, I never cried during Gerald and Ivo scenes at all. Oh, I did cry with one scene that involved Robotnik, but like I said, that requires spoilers, so we'll get there. But yeah, that flashback scene is good, but it did go on for a bit. Longer than I was expecting. I mean, I did just see the movie today, and I am gonna see the movie again with my friends tomorrow. So maybe the thing was, I was already doing there. The thing is, I was already busy today, I was busy with work and all that, so it was probably just maybe because I was still recovering from stress before I went to go and watch the movie, that that it felt longer than it was. I don't know. Oh, but yeah, the flashback scene went on for a little bit too long. But like I said, sometimes the pacing is way too fast. There are scenes that should go on longer, but then are just done and over with that. Okay, so one other thing I didn't like, Captain Rockwell. Oh, played by Kristen Ritter, actually. Yeah, Jessica Jones herself. Not gonna lie, that's kind of cool. She might as well not be in this movie, at all. Not to say that her character is bad or anything, and I won't deny. Hey, I don't mind seeing a bit of Kristen Ritter. I mean, the woman is sexy as hell, and like I said, she plays Jessica Jones. I mean, we have Sonic the Hedgehog teaming out with Jessica Jones. There are other problems I do have with this film. that do involve Kristen Ritter's character, but I can't say what it is without spoiling. So yeah, those are the things I did not like at all, but I will admit they're not too much for me. I still like this movie. But now we go over to the things I do like. Oh boy, sorry. Okay, let's start off with the acting. It is great. It is a million times better than it is in the first two movies combined. Not to say that the acting in the first two movies was bad. It wasn't, but because those movies rarely had, mostly had low stakes, apart from that one scene in the second film where Sonic almost got stomped on to death by a giant robot, but that's besides the point. Because those films, like, mostly didn't have, like, the highest of stakes, you know, the acting just felt like, you know, the acting felt like less like these characters were, like, on an action adventure, more like they were on a little mini adventure, you know, just like a little trip, you know, and that was literally the first movie, for fuck's sake. And, yeah, the acting here has improved, and I think that might be because, like, the stakes are, like, really fucking high in this film, and, like, seriously, there are some really dark and really intense moments. Now, I'm not gonna say that every child that's going to see this movie is going to be scared of it, alright? I mean, like, if your kids can handle a movie like Coraline, then yeah, they can definitely handle this movie. But I won't deny, if your kids are sensitive, you might want to hold on to their hand during the sad moments. Because trust me, they're gonna fucking cry. They are definitely going to cry. So you might want to hold on to their hand for comfort if that does happen. Just giving you a warning for all you parents out there. But yeah, the acting has improved. Like Ben Schwartz as Sonic, he's good as always. Jim Carrey as Eggman, amazing as always. Colleen O'Shaughnessy as Tails, reprising her role from the games, amazing. Idris Elba as Knuckles, perfect as usual. And Keanu Reeves as Shadow. Do I even need to say it? He is awesome in this movie. Now, I won't deny, there are times where his line delivery does sound like that one scene in John Wick 4 where he's, like, threatening to kill, like, the casino man and all the fucking mafia. It's been a while since I've watched John Wick 4. But, like, yeah, sometimes, like, sometimes his acting does go the, why won't you leave me alone? Okay, he doesn't sound like Patrick Star. He sounds more badass than that, trust me. But, like, I literally, like, one of the first lines of dialogue he has in the film is, why won't you leave me alone? And the way he delivers it, I was like, dude, you sound bored out of your fucking mind. You okay? You know, but yeah, he is still great as Shadow. Perfect casting. Personally, I still would have gone with Robert Pattinson, because if you listen to his performance as the Batman, I think I don't need to explain why that would be perfect for Shadow, but that's besides the point. Yeah, the visual effects massively improved. Like, holy shit. Not to say that the CGI in the first two movies was bad, but there were times where you could tell that there were corners that were cut. Like, for example, like in the first movie when Sonic was, like, unconscious and, like James Marsden had to hold Sonic in his hands, there are times where it looked like Sonic was just, it didn't even look like he was holding on to Sonic. There were, like, times where it looked like, you know, Sonic was just floating above his fucking hands. But in this movie, yeah, the CGI has amazingly improved. The budget is clearly higher than the first two movies. I wouldn't say it's higher than the first two movies combined, because I think that would be the budget of a fucking Marvel movie, and they're not there yet. They will get there, but they're not there yet. So, yeah, I also like how the characters are done. Sonic has never been more likable. Like, Sonic, this is probably, like, the most likable that Sonic has ever been. And this is a character that's already pretty damn likable in both the games and the films. Because yeah, there is a point later on where he kind of acts like an asshole, but given the context, it makes sense why he was like, you know, why he's having this freak out and all that. And Tails and Knuckles are like telling him to calm down, and he's like, no, fuck you, I'm not calming down, I'm fucking pissed off. Oh, so yeah, and like Sonic and Shadow, I just want to focus on those two. The way they are written, they both go through the ringer. They both go through hell in this movie. To the point where you're kind of rooting for both of them. You're not just rooting for Sonic or just rooting for Shadow. You're rooting for both of them. Yeah, one is trying to destroy the world, the other is trying to save it, but you understand their feelings and where they're coming from. You understand why Shadow is very pissed off, but you also understand why Sonic really just wants the world to be safe. You understand both of their pain. You understand that these guys have been through a lot and continue to go through a lot. And it's really well done. It's really well done. Like, I have never seen Sonic more pissed off in my life. It's like, holy shit. Like, Ben Schwartz, he deserves an Oscar. I know this movie is not going to get nominated for an Oscar because honestly, you have to be high out of your fucking mind to believe this movie is going to get nominated for an Oscar. But let's say if it was, if it was nominated for an Oscar, it should be like it should be nominated for Ben Schwartz's performance as Sonic, because there are times, because like when he is happy or when he is sad, you believe it. Ben Schwartz's voice acting is that good, and when he is pissed off, he doesn't get to the point of being scary, but it does get to the point where you do feel a bit uncomfortable and you do feel genuinely worried for him. Like, you feel concerned. You're like, yo, dude, calm down. Like, this is not you. I love that. I love it. Yeah. And Shadow is the same. Because, like, even though Shadow is, like, you know, really pissed off, and you understand where he's coming from, you can also tell that there's good in him. You can also tell that you're rooting for him. Yeah, you're not rooting for him to destroy the planet. You are rooting for him to just simply, just like, you know, turn over to the good side. It's well done. It's well written. It's well directed. Alright. Now, we are getting into spoilers. So, if you have gotten this far in the review and you don't want to be spoiled, click off! Sorry, that was just too good. But, yeah, the spoilers. So, how do I put this? I'm going to start off with the flashbacks with Shadow and Maria. Now, like I said, there are 3 flashbacks in the whole film. The first flashback is when Commander Walters is explaining how Shadow came to be, which, in this version, instead of being created in a science lab, he is an alien that crash-landed on Earth and he was stuck in a meteorite. Like, that looked a bit similar to the Black Comet, but I'm going to pass that off as just a coincidence or fun little Easter egg. And pretty much, and like, we see it, and in this first flashback, Commander Walters says that an accident happened. Now, we do get back to this accident later, but we don't see what happened. We just see the aftermath of what Gunn was doing to both Gerald and Shadow, and, holy shit. They straight up abuse Shadow in this. They straight up abuse him. Now, I know what you're thinking. OnGoing the gamer. They did abuse Shadow in the games. And yeah, you're right. But it's more implied than shown. In this film, they show it. They show it. Like, okay, there's not a part where, like, you know, one of the gun soldiers, like, picks him up and then just starts punching him, like, starts pummeling him, like, after death. Like, they don't go that far, but there is a part where during the first flashback, they're trying to lure Shadow into a cage and he's refusing to get in, so they start tasering him. And the way he's like looking, the way he looks after he gets tased, he has that look of like sadness and fear, and like he looks like he's about to burst into tears, and it's like watching a dog getting beaten up. You know, you're just like looking at it and you're like, jeez. You're looking at it and you just want to cry. You just want to cry. You just want to like go in there and just like help the poor guy out. It's like, holy shit. Like, they are like tasering him and then they lock him in this tube, which isn't the first tube, but they still cryogenically freeze him. And when he wakes up and he realizes it's been 50 years, he's like, it's been 50 years? Holy shit. Okay, he doesn't say that, but still, he is like, wait, I've been in there for 50 years, what's going on? He's like, he's not doing so good mentally. And then we get to the second flashback where, like, of how Shadow and Maria met. Now, this is where things get interesting. In this version, Maria does not have an illness. Like, she doesn't have a disease at all. Hell, they're not even living in space. Maria is in the lab. Why is she in the lab? Well, Gerald just likes to take her all over the place, which... Okay, Gerald is her grandfather, so... Where are Maria's parents? Are they dead? I know that in the games, though, there was no clarification on where her parents was. I mean, like, we did get Sonic X Shadow Generations this year, which did explain that Maria's parents were, like, you know, were still alive during that whole thing, but they don't bother explaining it here. And honestly, like, I think Sonic X Shadow Generations started development, like, way before this movie entered production. So I highly doubt that Jeff Fowler knew that Sega already written that in there. So yeah, but like, yeah. So we see Maria like wandering around, and then she comes across like the green tube that Shadow is in, and she touches it, and then Shadow turns around, and yeah, there's a jump scare, actually. They actually do a jump scare here, which I was honestly shocked they did that. Like, she's about to touch the glass, and then Shadow, like, looks at her, and he's, like, really pissed off. He's, like, a bit angry. But then, like, and, yeah, Maria does get startled, but then she immediately calms down. Shadow is a bit confused at first, but Maria decides to get out a pen and starts drawing on the glass. And she draws the face of a bunny around Shadow. Oh, why does she do this? She's mischievous. Yeah, in this version, she's still like a kind, caring person, but she has a bit more personality this time around because, like, let's be real, in the games, Maria is nothing but a plot device to nothing but something to use as a way to motivate Shadow. That's it. That's all Maria is in the games. Yeah, Sonic X Shadow Generations developed her a little bit, but she's still just a plot device for Shadow. Not to say that she isn't a plot device here. She clearly is, but she has more personality. Yeah, she's still kind and caring, but she's also a bit mischievous. Like, you know, she starts, like, messing with the scientists when she's not supposed to. Ooh, like, we get, like I said, in this flashback, we get a montage of her and Shadow playing, and there's, like, a part where, like, they're about to give Shadow, I want to say shock therapy? I don't know how to explain it. But, like, there's, like, a part where, like, they're about to, like, shock Shadow, I think. I'm not a scientist, so I wouldn't know how the fuck this works. And Maria sneaks into the lab and then like manages to get Shadow out and replace him with a teddy bear. They start playing around in the lab together to the point where they destroy a bunch of food, and they're just having the like greatest time of their lives together. They watch movies together. You see them dancing together. It's a very wholesome moment. And then we get a scene which I won't deny, like I said, I kind of cried during this scene. I really cried. Where like Shadow and Maria are just lying down and they're looking at the stars. And then like they're talking about it, and then like Maria brings up something that when a star dies, the light still shows. And like Shadow and Shadow doesn't know what his purpose is. He doesn't know where his home is. And Maria said to him that this is his home, and she knows who he is. He's her friend. And when she said that, I was like, oh God. Like when she said that, I started crying because when you know the story of something, you're like, oh God. This hurts. This fucking hurts a lot. It's meant to be wholesome, but when you know it, it hurts. It hurts. But, yeah, and then, like, and I guess we can call this the third flashback, because, like I said, it's technically 4, but I don't really want to count this one. There's a part where there's a part where Tom is disguised as Commander Walters, and Shadow wants Commander Walters dead for some fucking reason. I don't know why. They don't really explain why him specifically, because like Walters was the one that tried to make sure that Shadow wasn't harmed. So, okay, but whatever. So he punches him, but then he finds out that it's Tom. And then like Sonic sees that and he starts freaking out. And when he sees Sonic freaking out over Tom's quote unquote death, he remembers a time when he was looking at Maria's dead body, and you actually do see the body. I was like, oh shit, you do see the body in that moment. You do actually see Maria's body. I'm like, oh fuck, they actually did that. Holy shit. Yeah, like they actually did that. And for a moment, I do like this scene though. Even though I don't really call this a flashback moment, I will admit, I do like this scene. Because when Shadow is seeing Sonic like freaking out and to the point of almost crying, you could see that without dialogue, you could tell that Shadow is feeling a bit guilty. Like, there's a look on his face saying, what am I doing? You know, like, there's no dialogue from him, but you can tell he's starting to doubt what he's doing. But then Sonic looks at him, and we get that line from the trailer when he says, what did you do? And then Shadow replies with what I had to, and he teleports away. And this is where we get to the proper third and final flashback. Which, oh boy, I know there were like tons of people in the cinema. At my screening, there were tons of people there. Some that were hardcore Sonic fans, and some people that didn't know anything about the Sonic lore. When we got to the final flashback, everyone in the cinema went quiet, and then they started crying. I would not be surprised if someone is watching this review, because I've said the word crying or cry so much. I would not be surprised if there's someone out there watching this review going like, hey, take a shot. Like, let's play in a drinking game. Go like, hey, I'm going to take a shot every single time this bastard says cry. But anyway, so yeah. And pretty much what happens is that, like, the way this flashback is handled, we see, like, Shadow and Gerald on the Ark, and then Shadow looks at him and goes, Professor, is this what Maria would have wanted? And then Gerald replies with, that isn't the question. The question is, do they deserve it? Think about what they did to us. And, not gonna lie, Jim Carrey as Gerald can be fucking scary at times. Like, Jesus! But yeah, he's manipulating Shadow and he's telling him, they did this to us. And then we see the flashback of how Maria died. Alright, so like Gerald is trying to get Shadow and Maria out because he knows that Gunn is after Shadow. He knows that Gunn doesn't want to kill Shadow, but he knows that they want to use him for something. He wants to get both Shadow and Maria to safety. He wants to get them to safety right away. And he's about to, but there's this one cop. It's like, you know, hands up, motherfucker! You're going to jail. Sorry, no, I mean, there's this one gun soldier that is like trying to shoot at them, but we see a young Commander Walters like saying, "No, stop! Don't! You're gonna kill the child!" Oh, and then the guy shoots. It's like, I think it's an energy tube. And then an explosion happens, knocking Shadow out. And then Shadow wakes up, and the first thing he sees is Maria's death. He gets up, he sees Maria on the ground. He walks up, he runs up to her, hoping she's still alive. But then we see the look that Gerald gives Shadow, and it's a look of grief. Like I said, there is no dialogue in this scene whatsoever, but you can tell from the looks that Shadow and Gerald give to each other. You can tell that Shadow is looking at him. You can tell Shadow is hoping it's not true, hoping that didn't kill Maria, hoping that maybe she was just injured and maybe she's still alive. But you also get that look from Gerald that is being realistic and knows what has happened. And Shadow starts freaking out. And then we cut back to present day where he starts running around the yard, powering it up. Holy shit, what a way to do a flashback. God damn. Alright. Now that we're done with the flashback scenes, I want to talk about Sonic's character. Sonic goes through development in this movie. Not to say that he didn't go through development in the first two movies, he did. But this is the first time where it's kind of a bit of a focus. Not to say that they didn't focus on it much in the first two movies, but this one it has more focus. It's because, like, you know, when we start off the movie, Sonic is, like, being happy and cheery. You know, he's being his cocky, he's being his cocky, playful self, like he usually is. And everything is going swimmingly. And then, like, you know, after Eggman portrays Sonic and friends to work with Shadow and Gerald, well, Sonic decides, okay, Tom and Maddie, you need to come and help us, and everything will be done. And then everything seems to be going somewhat great, apart from Captain Rockwell trying to fuck them over. But then Shadow badly injures Tom, like I said earlier, and Sonic is pissed. He is not happy. And holy crap. Like, this is what I love about this movie, is that they show that Sonic and Shadow are polar opposites. But they also show that Sonic could have become Shadow if he let the pain of losing Longclaw of losing Longclaw. I can't fucking speak! Of losing Longclaw change him. But they also show that he still could turn into that person if he goes through that pain again. And yeah, he's like getting angry, and he demands to know where the Master Emerald is from Knuckles. Which, look, I know Knuckles and Wade, like, you know, had a friendship in the Knuckles show, but Knuckles should know not to trust Wade of all people with the goddamn Master Emerald. But whatever. But yeah, so Sonic is like, I'm going to get the Master Emerald, and then Tails is like, no, don't. Oh, this is not a good idea. You know this. And Sonic's like, I don't fucking care. I'm getting that emerald. Oh, and Knuckles is like Sonic, Tails is trying to help. Stop. Oh, and Sonic, he is just getting angry. He's getting more and more angry. And Knuckles, not wanting to do this, but knowing that Sonic is going to do some... Knowing Sonic is going to not... knowing Sonic is going to get worse if he doesn't do this, Knuckles is like, okay, fine. Go to Wade, get the Master Emerald, but don't lose yourself. Oh, that's what Sonic does. He gets the Master Emerald, he goes super, and he goes into the Space Colony Arc and starts fighting Shadow. He starts beating him up, and Shadow's just straight up telling him the truth here. Like, Shadow is like, now you understand my pain of what I'm doing, of what I've been through for over 50 years, and now you're doing the same thing I am. And Sonic is saying that he's nothing like him. And, like, what is cool about this is that Sonic is fighting Shadow in his super form, but Shadow is not in his own super form yet. And then Sonic, and then, like, you know, and then when they go back down to Earth and start fighting some more, and then, like, Sonic is telling Shadow to come out and fight. Shadow punches him in the stomach, knocking out the Chaos Emeralds. But then they both touch the Chaos Emeralds at the same time, and then they're both in their super forms, and they start fighting like it's Man of Motherfucking Steel. Like, I'm not even joking. There's like a Man of Steel reference. You know that scene in the film where where we got a camera shot of Superman's back and he's like punching villains in the air? We got a shot like that, and oh boy, it is great. And Sonic and Shadow are just fighting in their super forms, which I think is meant to be a reference to that one episode in Sonic X where Sonic and Shadow have fought in their super forms, but it's still cool. It's very fucking cool. And pretty much Shadow knocks Sonic into, I want to say, Egypt, I don't know. I forgot. I know it's a desert-like area. And Shadow is just telling Sonic that this isn't, like, he's not a hero. He thought heroes weren't blinded by rage. His friends try to stop him. And I love what Shadow says here. He says, I thought you actually cared about your friends, especially, what's his name? Tom? And then Sonic goes fucking mad, uppercuts Shadow so hard he goes into the fucking moon! And Sonic is about to kill him. Sonic is actually about to kill Shadow. And then Shadow's like, come on, do it. Finish it. I'm right here. Do it! And Sonic's about to do it. But then we get a flashback earlier on in the film of when Tom tells Sonic that, this isn't, tells Sonic that, he's a good person. And then Sonic is just, he puts Shadow down. And he's like, this isn't who I am. This isn't who I am at all. And then Shadow is like, what are you doing? Kill me. You win. You won. Get revenge on me. And Sonic just replies with, even when you get your revenge successfully, no one wins at all. Which is a good message. That's a very good message. Is it a message that's been done to death? Yeah, but the way it's handled here, I think makes sense. And, the film actually has a message, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty good message for a family film. Where the message is, you may be going through pain, but you shouldn't let your pain change you. And not only should you not let your pain change you, you shouldn't fully get rid of it. You don't want to keep it around, yeah, but you learn from pain. Without pain, there's nothing to learn from. That's just how life is, unfortunately. And yeah, and Sonic and Shadow just have a chat on the moon. And Shadow is starting to regret everything he has done throughout the whole film. He is starting to regret it. To the point where he agrees to team up with Sonic to stop the Ark. Yeah. Alright, now I'm going to talk about Ivo and Gerald Robotnik. Okay. Jim Carrey as both Ivo, as both Ivo and Gerald Robotnik. I'm just going to call them Eggman and Gerald. Oh, this will just be easier. Jim Carrey as both Eggman and Gerald is amazing. And there are so many jokes of those two that are full on hilarious. I won't deny I did not like... okay, there's one joke that I kind of like, kind of don't like. is when they first meet each other, and then they say, and because they're both played by Jim Carrey, they say to each other, it's like we're two characters being played by one actor in the same movie. And then they both look into the camera, and I was like, okay, guys, you didn't need to go that far. You didn't need to have a fourth wall break, but whatever. It's a funny joke, but at the same time, I don't think it was necessary for the film. Like, I honestly think that joke could have been removed and you'd miss nothing. But, yeah. But what Gerald and Eggman do in this film is that they have pretty good chemistry, and I buy the fact that this is an old man manipulating his grandson. Oh yeah, Gerald don't give a fuck about Eggman in this. Yes, because just before Sonic and Shadow start fighting, and Gerald says to Eggman, "We're going to destroy planet Earth, everyone on it, and that includes us." Literally, Gerald, basically, let me translate it for you. Gerald is basically saying, yeah, my granddaughter died, I got depressed, and now I want to kill myself, and I'm taking the fucking planet with me. That is literally his motivation here. Which, yes, that was his motivation in Sonic Adventure 2, but he died before that plan and can go into full intuition. But here, it's actually kind of more scary because he is straight up saying, "Yep, I want to kill myself, but I also want to take the planet with me." And Ivo doesn't like that. Eggman doesn't like that at all. Oh, and he says to him, "But we have each other. You're my grandfather, right?" And Gerald just responds with, "Oh, you naive fool. You're no Maria." And it's like, oh shit. He only cared about Maria. Which, yeah, Gerald has a bit of favoritism apparently. There is one point in the film where they actually just straight up show that he's sexist. I am not joking. There's a part where Captain Rockwell he uses a gravity thing to stop Sonic and Eggman, and Gerald just looks at her and just goes, "Oh my god, they got women in the military now!" Which, oh my Christ, I never thought I would see the day where I see a Sonic villain make a goddamn joke about sexism. That's funny. But when he reveals that, yeah, I'm just gonna straight up kill everyone, you and myself. That's what we're doing here. I knew that was coming, and I didn't think I would see I didn't think he would straight up say that. I'm just gonna basically myself. I never thought I'd see that, but yeah. Eggman abandons Agent Stone. Eggman abandons Agent Stone, and, Agent Stone's a bit sad about it. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't figure out what to say about it. So Eggman abandons... abandons Agent Stone, for Gerald, but when he finds out that Gerald wants nothing to do with him, technically, he fights Gerald and he also kills him. And as Sonic and Shadow are trying to stop the Ark, Sonic eventually passes out from exhaustion, which, not gonna lie, that got me on the edge of my seat. I was legit, I was crying during that bit. I was like, oh my god, someone go and save him. Yeah, Tails and Knuckles do save him, but Shadow and Eggman and quote-unquote sacrifice themselves. But before they do, Eggman sends a message to Agent Stone, sorry. Eggman sends a message to Agent Stone saying that he actually always liked him, and like, you know, and he should have appreciated him more, or he's gonna he likes his lattes with steamed lobster and goat milk. He loves the way he makes them. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this scene kind of got me too, because when I'm seeing like Agent Stone go like, "No, Doctor, don't do it! I need you!" I was like, oh my god, I felt so bad for Stone. I was like, oh, this poor guy has been through so much. I felt bad for him. It was like, oh no. But yeah, the Ark blows up. Yeah, but Shadow and Eggman blow up the Ark, and they're both dead. Until the post-credit scene, but we'll get there when we get there. Now, before I talk about the mid-credit scene and the post-credit scene, which will be the final things I talk about, I do need to talk about one issue I had with the film, and that is, okay, like in Sonic Adventure 2, Gunn does decide to go after Sonic at one point because Commander Walters ends up getting killed. Now, they know that Sonic and friends didn't kill him, but Commander Walters gives Sonic a key that is used to power the Ark. And Captain Rockwell, even though she knows that Sonic and friends didn't kill Commander Walters, for some reason they still think that he stole the key. They still think that Sonic stole the key. Even though I don't know why. And whether Commander Walters is dead or not, who knows? But actually, I need to say something. I remember, like, I think it was like a couple of weeks ago, one of my friends told me that if like Commander Walters dies, they should have had the joke of him go like, "Sonic, give Tom this Olive Garden gift card, and let him have the never-ending pasta bowl." Spoiler alert, they don't do that joke, but my god, that would have been hilarious. I get why they didn't, but I hope, okay, I hope there are bloopers out there. Okay, if there were bloopers made for this movie, if there are bloopers, Jeff Fowler, please tell me one of the bloopers was Commander Walters saying, "Sonic, give Tom the Olive Garden gift card for the never-ending pasta bowl." Ugh. Please tell me that's in there, Jeff Fowler. Please tell me, that'll be fucking funny. But yeah, and honestly, like, the whole like Gunn not trusting Sonic goes completely fucking nowhere and might as well not even be there. Alright, so let's talk about the two post-credit scenes. So, before we get there, the movie ends with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles in the forest that they were in at the beginning of the movie, and it's revealed that Tom did survive that punch from Shadow, which, let's be fucking real, he really shouldn't, because judging by how powerful Shadow is, Tom's lungs would have been fucking destroyed. Like, Tom's lungs would have been shattered. I'm sorry. His lungs would have been shattered, and his ribcage would have been completely fucking destroyed, but whatever. He survived that, apparently. And the movie ends with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles doing a race together. But then we get a mid-credit scene. But yes, there's two post-credit scenes this time. Let's start with the mid-credit scene. Sonic is still racing, but then he realizes that he's in New York Park, and he's like, "Oh shit, I overshot the finish line. Where the hell is everyone?" And then we see Metal Sonic sneaking up behind him. He points a gun, and he shoots. And Sonic is not there. And then Sonic sneaks up behind him and says, "Pro tip, if you're gonna take a shot at the fastest creature in the universe, you better not miss." And yeah, he sees Metal Sonic, he's about to fight him, but then he sees a whole bunch of Metal Sonics surrounding him, which, ooh, I like that. And Sonic is like, what do I do here? The Metal Sonics are about to attack, but then we see a hammer destroy all of them. And we see he said hammer belongs to someone in a brown hoodie. Sonic understandably questions who the hell this person is. they take the hood off, and it's revealed to be Amy Rose. Okay, question. Where the fuck were you, Amy? Holy shit, where were you? Okay, but yeah, they are bringing in Amy Rose. About fucking time. Alright. So, yeah, and now we get to the final post-credit scene. So, like I said, Shadow sacrifices himself, but the final post-credit scene shows that there's one of Shadow's rings. It shows that one of Shadow's rings is on the floor. We see Shadow walk over and pick it up. So yeah, he's still alive. I know a lot of people said in their spoiler reviews that Shadow being alive kind of undermined his sacrifice a bit, which I do kind of agree, but I won't deny. I knew they weren't going to keep him evil, and I definitely knew they weren't going to kill him off. He's one of the most popular characters in the whole franchise. He's more popular than Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Silver, Blaze, and Metal Sonic combined. And do you really... and you have to keep in mind, they have already confirmed Sonic the Hedgehog 4 is in the works, and it's scheduled for 2027. Do you really think they're going to have the balls to kill off a character that is so goddamn popular that they would make money from that character's name alone? Fuck no, they're not going to kill him off. They're going to keep him around as much as they need to. But, yeah. Overall, I fucking love this movie, and I can't wait to watch it again. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope you enjoy Sonic Movie 3 as much as I do. Bye!